I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. This is another for Dre to Be, as for Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Now, it's directed by Ang Lee, and I'm not a big Ang Lee guy. Like, at one time I tried to watch Sense and Sensibility, and I'm like, this just isn't my kind of movie. Brokeback Mountain, I get the idea behind it. At the end, this wasn't my kind of movie. Not because it's gay, but because I don't know, just with Ang Lee films, I don't know what it is, like, as ironic as it is, my favorite film of his is the one that's hated the most by people. It's Hulk from 2003. Life of Pi was alright, and like this film was alright. Gemini Man is his worst, easily his worst one, and his most disappointing. No, I can't say that. The one I hate the most is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. A lot of people love that film. I'm not a fan. I reviewed it. I'm just not a fan of that. Gemini Man, I would still rather watch over Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Crouching bullshit, hidden numbnuts. Gemini Man is just the most disappointing film he's done. Like I said, Life of Pi was alright, and this one was alright too. Because this one was not exactly what I expected. Because I liked the idea behind the film, where our guy who's with this group of soldiers, something happened overseas. A young infantryman, he rushes to the aid of his sergeant, played by Vin Diesel, which he's not in it a lot, but he's in it little spurts here and there. He got the Silver Star, they got some publicity, and so him and his buddies are on this publicity tour before they have to head back to Iraq. And this publicity tour is going to culminate in this halftime show at a Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving home game. So my friend Mike, OCP, he might want to give this a watch, just the fact that he's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. I guess what made it interesting to me is that, on a good note, how much of it took place in the stadium and the halftime show. Because I thought that was just going to be like a little thing that would be, it'll be there for a minute, but it'd be like 20 minutes about Afghanistan or Iraq or all the different tours they went through, and it would go into their boot camp training. It'd be like this, like a lot of war films, where it'd be about, or anti-war films, I guess the best way to call this, where they're training and all this stuff, and it was going to show why he came into service, why he joined the service. Instead, which I thought was the right decision, it's just the character saying, my sister was in a car accident, she got heavily hurt, her asshole boyfriend dumped her, so I went and I fucked up his car, and I chased him just to scare him. I thought it was going to be a movie, it was going to show all this and really put the point across. But no, a lot of it is about how these soldiers are dealing with this supposed to be fun event, this halftime show, but how a lot of it is kind of how the people look at them, how the people act around them, how they're kind of just paraded around as, not really as human beings, but as PR. And how as soldiers that they're supposed to represent the military, the stuff that they're supposed to say, despite what they really think. And how even with this short amount of time, how things have affected them, and then the fact that they have to go back later. Again, I was actually surprised in a good way how much of it took place with them arriving at the stadium and behind the scenes of the stadium and the halftime show. You had this up close personal look at this stuff. I don't know why that interested me so much. Maybe because you don't have a lot of movies other than, you know, a football movie, like specifically a football movie like Any Given Sunday. But any other type of movie that does that is, especially for a film that's centered on war, it just made it a bit more unique, made it a bit different compared to other films of its ilk. And also, I thought the acting wasn't too bad. Like Garrett Hedlund, I've seen him in other stuff. I actually thought he was a lot better here compared to stuff I've seen him in. He's not the lead, but he's like the... fuck, I forgot if he was a sergeant or major. Damn it. I'm going to have to look it up. I was just going to bud the hell out of me. But he's sort of the leader of this group up in, where, hey, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. The lead guy wasn't too bad. I thought he was perfectly fine in his role. There's nothing really that egregious about his performance. Joe Alwyn. Yeah, Joe Alwyn, he was fine in his role. Garrett Hedlund played Bravo Squad's staff sergeant. Played the character Dime. And Garrett Hedlund, he was the star of Tron Legacy. I forgot he was in Four Brothers, that's right. The lead is Tron Legacy. He's like, maybe it's the way the character was written, maybe it's not his fault. Joe Alwyn, I'm trying to think like what else I've seen this guy in. Technically nothing, because none of the other films he's been in, this was the first film he did. So, it's a newbie. Well, you know, actually worked well for the role. Now, some people I did not expect to see, Chris Tucker and Steve Martin. Like, Steve Martin plays the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, which is interesting. And Chris Tucker, which he's only done like 3 films in 10 years. He plays his film producer to try to get them a movie based on their story. It's about, oh, well, Hilary Swank, he wants to play you, Billy. But hey, he played a boy in Boys Don't Cry. But hey, you know, if she says yes, we'll get some money for you. And he's trying to get like $100,000 per person, so they're excited about it. Because that doesn't quite work out. But holy shit, is that Chris Tucker? I don't know, it was cool to see Chris Tucker, because I miss Chris Tucker. It's funny, he's the opposite of Kevin Hart for me. Like, Kevin Hart, I wish would go away for a while. Same with Melissa McCarthy. You know, the guys, I just go away for a while. Chris Tucker's the opposite. I think in a way, I don't want to say he did that on purpose, but on a side note, I know this is off tangent, but Chris Tucker is one of those guys I really did enjoy when he broke out. You know, Friday. Yeah, I didn't mind Dead Presidents, but he was good in it. He had a bit role in Jackie Brown. I liked that movie. It's not my favorite Tarantino film, but I liked it. The Fifth Element. Yeah, he got a little bit too much, but there's still quite a bit of fun I had with his role as Ruby Rhod in Fifth Element. Money Talks. I quite enjoyed Money Talks. And then because I was successful with New Line Cinema and Brett Ratner directing, that got him Rush Hour the year after, and that was a hit no one saw coming. No one thought Rush Hour would be that big of a hit. It was a fun movie. I really enjoyed Rush Hour, but I'm just saying, I remember at the time they kind of said, oh yeah, this movie Rush Hour is coming out. No one expected that to be such a fucking huge hit. And then Chris Tucker didn't do anything until Rush Hour 2. Where he got like, what, 20, 25 million? Like, he got a shitload of money for Rush Hour 2. And you know what? He, in a way, played it smart. I mean, you gotta give the guy credit. He played it smart. It's like, hey, I can either do all these films and... or fuck it, I got paid 20 million. Maybe he's like, hey, I'll let them come to me. Rush Hour 3? Okay, pay me a shitload more money. With what he got in Rush Hour 3, he's set for life. So, then he doesn't have to do much. Because after Rush Hour 2, like, it was Rush Hour 3, he was in the film Silver Linings Playbook, and this movie. I think he did like a special on Netflix, and some music videos. One with Michael Jackson, before he passed away, of course, and... I mean, if you did a filmography of Chris Tucker, it would not take you much fucking time, and that's... On one hand... yeah, he played it smart. And on one hand, also, he never made it so people were tired of him, which happens to a lot of people. Those folks where you just get fucking tired of them. Even if you like some of their stuff, you just get so tired. Like, I like The Rock. I like Dwayne Johnson. But I'm like, you know, just fucking ease up. Ease up, Ripley. You're grinding metal. Ease down. Ease down. But Chris Tucker... again, became the opposite. And like I said, on one hand, it's kind of the more clever, smarter way to play it. But it's just, I wish we could have seen more films of Chris Tucker, especially this heyday, because nowadays he's a, I don't know if you call it a born-again Christian or just Christian. Now he doesn't want to curse. Now he doesn't want to swear. Which I did. That's his prerogative. But I miss that Chris Tucker. Which maybe that's one of the reasons why Rush Hour 3 just didn't seem as funny as the first two. I just couldn't add the end of Rush Hour 3. But I miss Chris Tucker. I just imagine a series of movies where he'd have to be a star in that would just seem like maybe his version of The Golden Child. I'm not saying a remake, but just like that type of movie with Chris Tucker. Or some other films that we missed out on. And that sucks. And then plus, I just think he's funnier than Kevin Hart. So with all the fucking 50 movies Kevin Hart does, I wish we tried to, you know, I'll trade some of those for a few more, you know, Chris Tucker ones. But anyway, my tangent on Chris Tucker. So it was interesting to see him play a role in this. Again, there's some humor, but it's more of a serious role. He's not Smokey from Friday or anything. And, so it was just nice to see him there. So that was cool. And I said Vin Diesel, he's there for little bits in these flashbacks to the war. Where Vin Diesel's character is a little bit philosophical with the lead. And this is time, at times it got a little bit schmaltzy on it, trying to invoke its philosophy. But I didn't get too mad. Its intentions are well-meaning. And from time to time, it'll cut, for the most part, them, like when they're in the stadium and people meet up, say, oh man, we love what you do, or it's like the people, the crowd, think this is what the soldiers want to hear. So you talk about, oh, you know, I wear a uniform too, but I mean, granted, it's this, or, oh man, I hope they fucking nuke that place, or like, you could tell from the soldiers' faces, like, okay, I don't want to hear this shit, but... Or like, man, you guys really don't know how it's like, you know, so just shut up. But at the same time, they'd have to keep up appearances. Or about how, yeah, I mean, they're labeled as all these heroes, but at the time, there are people who work at the stadium that just want to use them as his PR. So, yeah, just go here, and Destiny's Child is playing, and you guys don't be behind them. And this girl explains all this stuff, and after she gets done and leaves, one of the soldiers go, what the fuck did she say? About how, you know, they're just, afterward, they're just staying on the stadium, not even staying, but they're staying on the halftime show for a little bit longer, and these security guards like, well, get out of here, you gotta leave, and just acting like dicks. And sadly I can see that happening. And it's like, okay, well, these people don't really care about these soldiers. They just care about the PR. And, you know, there are some that do, but there's a lot who don't. Or they say they do just to keep up appearances. Like Steve Martin talks about how great these guys are, but he's like, oh, I'll buy your movie. But instead of 100,000, he's like, going to offer only 5,000. As Garrett Hedlund says, he likes us so much he's going to fuck us in the face. And yeah, there's some moments that you may go, okay, that's a bit too on the nose. Like when one guy goes, this is how country dies, and I fear for it. There's other moments that I could see this actually happening. Like one guy talks about, of course, he's a bit drunk and he's giving him shit about, oh yeah, the don't ask, don't tell, you gay and foxholes. And, a soldier gets pissed and he's like, oh yeah, well, you know what? He starts touching the guy. That gives him a fucking sleeper hole. Yeah, I just want to show you, how it'd be like in a foxhole. He's giving him a sleeper hole, trying to knock him out. He's like, calm down, calm down. This poor schmuck in the stadium seats. But just the aesthetic of them being in the stadium, like, I like the fact that a lot of it was it's a different venue. It's not the typical venue you would see this type of film, so I think that just made it stand out for the crowd, like I said before. I thought the acting was fine. Kristen Stewart actually wasn't bad. After seeing Underwater, which was okay, and this, Kristen Stewart, I'm like, okay, with the right role, she could be fine. She plays the lead guy's sister, who's trying to find a way to get him out of duty. Like, hey, you know what? You may have PTSD. I did get a doctor here. You're a hero. Because she cares about her brother. Direction-wise, look-wise, I know Ang Lee did this thing with the frame rate. The way I saw it, I couldn't tell much of a difference, but apparently, if you saw it was select theater and 3D, I'm like, what the fuck? Why would this be in 3D? Nothing about this is 3D material. And with the whole frame rate, I think that was just a bunch of headache for bullshit reasons. And I know you tried to do the same thing with Gemini Man. That worked out a lot less successful than this. Like with this kind of film that's just a drama, none of that technical stuff should have been even involved. I think Ang Lee at times, maybe because of Life of Pi, how successful that is, he's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't. But again, I'm the guy that thinks his best film is Hulk from 2003. I still like that film. I did a review defending that film. What was the other thing I was going to say, other than the look of the film? Oh, another thing that's disconcerting is there are times where people literally look at the camera and talk. But they're not talking to the audience, like Ferris Bueller. They're talking to the other person, but the way it's framed is them like this. At one point Chris Tucker does it. At one point Vin Diesel does it. They're talking to someone. I don't get the idea behind that. Just to me, it just takes you out of the film. Because we've seen many times where when a person does that, it's like Deadpool, or again Ferris Bueller, or it's someone talking to the camera, Richard Slater in cuffs. So it's like, okay, is he talking to me? Is he talking to the person? Okay, but why is he looking at me? And there's that back of your head, it's like, wait a minute, the actor's not supposed to look in the camera, but he's doing it. It just, to me, there's no reason for it. It didn't do anything dramatic-wise. It didn't do anything to further the story. It just made it distracting. So I didn't care for that either. By the end of it, again, they stand up to Steve Martin and say, your fucking $5,000 thing is bullshit. Fuck your offer. The guy decides to go back with his men. Even though he has a chance to get out, he decides to go back because he cares about his men, and that's what you're supposed to get, the brotherhood of these men. And then this theme where tries to be very artistic, where he sees the limo, he turns back, he sees his vehicle from Iraq. He goes in and there's Vin Diesel, and he talks to him in his mind. It says, "I love you." And he steps out of it, he's looking at the other men in the limo, and they go, "I love you back." And that's what I mean. I get the intention. It just came off a little bit schmaltzy, but I get its meaning. It's just well-intentioned. I will be honest, there was that part of me that thought it'd actually be kind of interesting if he actually did say, "Nah, I'm not going back." But to say, they'd be like, "Well, wait a minute, what about his men? What about his friends?" Which is, throughout the film, you get, that's kind of what he's about now. That even though he made out with this Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, never went all the way. He jokes about how he might still die a virgin, and Kristen Stewart, as the sister, doesn't like that joke. But pretty much all, for him, in his mind, it's the brother of these men. He wants to be there to help them out in case anything happens. And then they try to talk like it's a movie, like, how the hell do they word it? I mean, no matter what I think, it's still their war, isn't it? And then Vin Diesel's like, well, the bullet's already been fired. It's just trying to be like artsy, like pretentious with dialogue. I thought it was a little bit up its own ass at times with that kind of stuff. Trying to be deep. I'm like, okay, I think there's just thought there were better ways to write that kind of stuff. So it's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, but I thought it was interesting. There's only so many ways you talk about war or an anti-war film. I did it in a different way, with a different venue, with the whole halftime thing. I mean, it says long halftime walk. I mean, it's not, well, I guess technically throughout the film they did a lot of walking, but not halftime they didn't do a lot of walking, but it doesn't mean literally Matt. Yeah, I did. I'm just doing a shitty joke. Like I say, it was interesting to watch. You know, I thought the actors did a good job. It was interesting to see, like I said, Chris Tucker, Vin Diesel, Steve Martin in this kind of film. The soldiers, at times there's pyrotechnics and fireworks. They get a bit confused, like what's going on. The fact that these people don't tell them, like, exactly what are we supposed to do. So even though they're supposed to be these heroes, they kind of talked down to and treated like shit. Or this one guy's like, "Oh yeah, the oil," and you know, Garrett Hedlund goes, "Oh yeah, no, we liked it going lethal. Is that what you're paying us for? If we didn't enjoy killing people, what would be the point?" Like, pretty much telling the guy what he wants to hear. I didn't love it because I just felt I would have preferred this movie maybe with a different director. Maybe a little bit more rewrites in the writing, the script. In a weird way, I would rather seen if like Oliver Stone did this kind of film. You know, based on, you know, stuff he did in Born on the 4th of July and such. Maybe he would have made it a bit more easier to swallow, a little less clunky at times. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it would have been worse. But Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, which is a terrible title as well. Like, when people see that, it doesn't really flow off the tongue, that title. Not as bad as I thought it would be. It was okay. I don't see myself watching it a lot, but again, not a bad film. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.